You dang blew my dang eardrums out.
I've never done that before.
Ready, brother?
Ready. That's spicy. This is a spicy unit.
Getting the Evo back together kind of got me excited and brought it back to the forefront of my mind. One thing that I kind of left off with this car, if you remember the last time I had it at the firm, I set my personal best record, which was like a 1:14.3, which is an extremely fast time at the firm, considering it was basically a stock interior car with AC and running on a street tire. So what I really want to do with this thing is try to break the fendered car lap record at the firm. Now this eventually will become a street car, and it still kind of is a street car, but once we get the TME built, that will be the actual track purpose car. But this thing is still right on the cusp of being able to break the record. So to break it, I need about 2 seconds faster lap time. I ordered some Hoosier slicks for the car. I'll make a little bit of suspension changes, but more than anything, I just need to add a little bit more camber to it. I'm doing that, and then one other issue that I've struggled with this car was the transient lag with the turbo. The turbo is very good, and a lot of it has to do with the way that you have to drive an all-wheel drive car. You can't really bang gears like you can a rear-wheel drive car because you'll kind of create a lot of like drivetrain slack, and you can just feel that it's not good for the car. So I'm having Freddie go into the ECU in the car, and I actually already wired a clutch switch, but never finished. So he's finishing up wiring the clutch switch, and we're gonna see if we can have a no-lift shift on this car. It may not be a huge difference, but on the track, I bet it might contribute, you know, maybe a half second, which could be enough to actually make the difference. So he's gonna do that, and then hopefully we'll be able to keep the turbo spooled up between shifts, and it could make a big difference. But other than that, I actually have some diffusers for the car. I'm gonna play around and see if I have enough material to make a front diffuser, but I do have a rear one. I don't know if that's gonna make a huge difference at a track like the firm where, you know, there's not a lot of high speed turns or anything like that. It's more of almost like an autocross track, but I am kind of excited on this thing, so maybe a little bit later this week we'll have another Evo video where I start playing around with some aero. But for today and the rest of this video, we're gonna finally set up no lift shift on this car. So let's do it. So as always, to be safe with no lift shift, we set the RPM threshold pretty low in the beginning, so that way, you know, if you want to test it, you're not testing at red line where you can potentially do some damage. So we're gonna bring it up to around 5 grand. I'm gonna stay in it, and I'm gonna go to no lift shift, but I'm not actually gonna put it in the next gear. So we're gonna make sure that it cuts the ignition how it's supposed to, and that we get what we're after before I go putting it in gears and potentially damage stuff. All right, so do you want me to test it in second or third?
You don't even need to get out of the gear, so pretty much just go.
I'm gonna do it in third because it'll feel less abrupt.
Yeah,
so just clutch in around like 5 grand.
Yeah, over 50% throttle.
So, didn't it just go to limiter? I don't think it worked.
Yeah,
It sounded about the same as limiter, no?
yeah.
There's a missing table, but we found it, so it should work now. You ready?
Yep.
Yeah, it caught. It did. Yeah.
Alright, so can we ramp them in a little bit higher? So we'll do.
Do you want to actually try to shift this time?
Yeah, we'll do like 5,000 over 50%.
I'll do a 3-4 because that feels like a safe thing for me.
Yeah.
It just feels so unnatural in a car that you've always lifted to shift for, you know?
So over 4,500 over 50%.
It just felt like I let off the throttle. That's hilarious.
Alright, so reduction in the time. And bring this down a little bit.
What's the threshold? Because I'll try to do one.
Yeah, 1 second. 5,000, 50%.
Okay. So you want me to try one?
Yep.
No, we can still go a lot shorter than that.
Yeah.
What we're essentially trying to get rid of is the transient lag with the turbo. When you get back on throttle after shift, the turbo would have to spool back up. So we're trying to keep a little bit of boost is the goal of what we're trying to do here.
Pretty much if your boost, like your map pressure does like a V dip between the shifts, that's the lag. So we're gonna try and get rid of that V on the shift. Alright, so it's a little bit more aggressive now, but nothing crazy.
So try the same with 3-4.
Yeah. And then what's cool is I didn't know that, you know, the ECU sees your gear position, so we can change the delay between the gears and stuff too.
I know a lot of people with these in autocross cars will have it inactive for the 1-2, just because I don't know. I guess it can get mad sometimes, and
I know a lot of people don't usually no lift shift on 1.2 just because it's so abusive to the drive line. Okay, so I gotta shift a little bit faster because you saw the time, like it.
Yeah.
Whew, that was a little scary to me. It's kind of like I just burned the gear.
Stick to 3/4.
No, it was fine. I just took too long to shift.
Gotcha.
That kind of terrified me a little bit.
We can make the
delay
the
time?
shift time longer on the 2.3 than the 3/4.
Yeah.
But let's focus on like the 3/4 just to get some good base settings. And then
Yeah. I just have to go faster for the 3/4. That's why I did a 2.3. Ready?
Yeah.
Do we have a big V dip?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try 2.3 and a 3.4 on this one. No granny shifting this time. Ready?
Yep.
So the hard thing is going over to 5th in this car,
Okay.
just because I haven't done it in a while, and I just kind of shifted.
Into reverse almost.
My mind went to my Skyline where I can't do a 4.5 because I don't have a reverse lockout in that car, so I took a second too long. It feels good though. I feel like we could still get a little bit more aggressive on the ramp in.
The power in.
I think the time is good for now. I don't want to go too crazy until I get really comfortable, and then we can always pull a little bit of time out of it. But I could definitely feel the car staying in boost a lot more than it has in the past.
Yeah, so on the shift it drops from 30 pounds to 16 on the shift, and it ramps back in to 30.
That's
So,
not bad at all. It'd be real interesting. I wish I had a draggy to see the difference of what I'm losing in time when I have to let off compared to the now no lift stuff. I'll try another 2.3/4 again. Ready? Feels pretty good.
pull a little bit of shift cut time out of it.
Shift cut time. What do you mean?
So like how long the shift happens, right?
Okay.
It
For
feels good.
2.3, I feel like don't make it any shorter because on that one, if you felt I almost didn't shift fast enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Ready? I'm gonna lift for 1.2. It's just hard for me. The 4.5, I might just have to lift.
Yeah.
But I gotta learn how to do that just because at the firm, that's like one of the shifts that I do the most when I'm going out on the straights and stuff. It feels good though. It just kind of keeps me on the edge of my toes. I can't really sleep, you know? Even though I lifted on the 1.2, I could hear it activate a little bit and make a little pop, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's funny, I actually originally wired up this whole setup to beat Tommy when we were having the little GTR Evo feud.
God, scared me.
Sometimes people ask me what goes on in my nightmares. It's that.
So on the 1.2,
It did activate, right?
you kind of activated it, but you went all the way down to vacuum,
Yeah.
and then on the 2.3, it dropped to 17 pounds.